Hello, welcome to Tricia's Cards and Crafts. This is another of the beginner series videos, and this time we're going to be looking at papers and all sorts of different papers. Paper obviously comes in lots of different weights, it comes in lots of different sizes, and where do you start? Well, with Stampin' Up! You get lots of different types of paper that you can buy. You get designer series papers, you get cards stock, you get two different weights of cardstocks, you can get vellums, you can get designer series papers, and this is just an explanation of what all these different things are. With cardstock, you tend to get mostly one weight of cardstock, although it does vary, and often the darker the paper the heavier it'll be, so the more dense it's going to be, so it might weigh a little bit more, so it's easier to use when you're doing card bases for making construction things like boxes and different types of construction ideas that you've got. With Whisper White, it comes in two different weights. This is the normal cardstock weight, and this is the thick Whisper White, and you'd use the thick one for making card blanks and for construction, and you'd use the thinner cardstock for making layers and for stamping on. Okay, so those are two of them. You also get, they also do a watercolour, a water paint, I think it's called Fluid 2000 paper, which is good for watercolouring on. So if you're doing stamping and you're using the watercolour pencils and you're using water on it, this works better because it doesn't buckle as much, if at all. Unless you actually drench it completely, then it might buckle a bit, but it will go back. So that's watercolour paper. Designer series paper comes in, oh hang on, I've got more cardstock here. You also get, these are the designer series paper, but you can get them in different collections, and you can get them individually. So if you use a lot of a particular colour, it might be cheaper for you to buy a pack of that colour, or you can buy them in collections. This is a collection of the 2020 to 2022 in colour cardstock A4. A lot of the cardstock will also come in 12 by 12 or A4 sizes, and it's up to you what sort of size you use most regularly. If you're making cards, you'll probably be using the A4 size, unless you make square cards, and then it might be easier for you to use the 12 by 12. But these all match, these cards, this cardstock and all their cardstock matches all the different papers, and it matches all the inks, all the pens, all the different things you can buy. You can get them to coordinate then. Usually when you get a designer series papers, they tell you on them what colours they will match with. Okay, so that's the cardstock. So, and it's quite good. This is quite good for making card bases and for matting and layering, and for doing construction with as well. Okay, like the thick Whisper White. The designer series paper comes in all different shapes and sizes. The other type of paper card you can also get is foil cards. They come in smaller packs, and they're a bit more expensive, but that's because they've got a speciality to them. This is a copper one. You can get all different ones at different times. So at the moment there's a pack that you can buy that have got the copper for the Christmas one especially. There's the copper, the gold, and I think it's bronze or silver, I'm not sure, I need to check that. But they come as well, you can buy those. You can also sometimes get vellums. You can buy packs of vellum for you to use, but this is one that I had this was a celebration item, but this one's actually embossed. You can emboss the vellum, you can ink on it. The only problem with vellum is when you come to stick it onto your projects, you will see through with vellum. So if anything you try to stick to it, you'll be able to see it through. So it's often better to use it as a layer, and then you would stick something over the top of it, and you'd put the tape or whatever you use to stick it down with underneath the layer that you're going to put on top of it, so then you don't see it. Another way that you can put vellum on, attach vellum to cards, is you can use brads. I'll explain what they are again. They're like split pins basically. You could use that. There's a number of different ways of adhering vellum to paper, but it generally includes putting something over the top of where you would put the adhesive. Okay. The designer series paper comes in all different shapes and sizes. You get the 12 by 12. This is an old one. This was from last year, and this is the new in colours. They come in the same colours that the in colours come in. You can get them in different packs. These are the designer series paper. They've got 2 different designs on each side, and they come in the designer series colour papers, the in colours, but all in the same different designs. So you get two of each, or 4 of each for this one, of the 2 different designs, and in each of the different colours. So that's and they come in 6 by 6. So you get 40, there's 5 different colours, so you get 4 of each different ones. And then, but if you actually buy the packs of the other colours, you can get the packs of subtles, brights, neutrals and regals, and then you would only get 2 of each different design, because there's 10 different colours in each of those. So it's up to you if you want to go for any of those, but they will match then the cardstock that you can buy to match them as well. Okay, the other types of designer series papers you get, this is one from the new catalogue. It was out, these were out last year as well. You get all these different designs on the papers. They're really pretty, but on the back then you get a different design. These are all foiled on the back, and they're all different designs. And again, you get, these are all 6 by 6, so you get all these different designs. You can use either side, obviously, and they're really pretty. You can colour them as well, so you don't have to just use it as white. You can colour them with inks, and then we can make the different colours as well. So those are those. They come in a pack. This is the one, Feels Like Frost. This is a speciality one, and it tells you, it comes the colours that you could have to coordinate with them: Balmy Blue, Blushing Bride, Highland Heather, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, Purple Posy, Rococo Rose, Seaside Spray, Smoky Slate and Whisper White. And again, you get 48 sheets of these. There's 12 different designs, and there's 4 of each, so you get 2 of each different you get 4 of each different design, but they're double-sided, so you get sort of 2 of each if you wanted to use them like that. So those are the also specialty designer paper. With some of the designer papers, they all come double-sided, which is great, but you can use these. And what I've done with mine, I thought I don't do an awful lot of children's cards, so I thought, well, I could use these to make children's cards with, but I could use the one side to use as a background layer, and I could, because they've got quite a lot of nice sized images on them, I could cut them out, which is what I've done to create cards. Instead of using the stamp sets, you can use the designer series paper in some cases to use the actual images for your cards as well. So you don't necessarily just have to use them as background papers. You can use them to make your cards with as well, to use your images for your cards. It depends on the actual type of the design of the papers, obviously, but they all come double-sided. They're all different on the backs. they're all different. So you could use the smaller images, and you can then put a bigger image on the top. You could use the stripes, you could use the little parcels. There's lots of different things you can use them with. So they're great for making cards with. And if you're making children's cards, that one was lovely. There is a new one out at the moment in the new catalogue. I haven't received it yet, but I've got, it's on the, hopefully be on the way, and it's got whales on it this time, and fishes and different turtles and things. And again, rather than sending for the stamp set, I thought I might just send for the papers and try and use the papers to make, because you can cut out, there's larger images of the whales and the turtles and things that you can cut out and use on your cards as well. Okay, so there's not, you don't just have to use those. Another way of using your designer series papers, this one isn't using Stampin' Up designer series paper, but if you've got a lot of offcuts, you can use them to make your focal image on your card as well. So rather than just using you can cut them, use your scraps of paper up and make a really pretty card with just the papers. Okay, so that was one that I've had for making some particular project up that I've been working on at the moment. Yeah, I think that's all. So I'll just explain a little bit more. So I've used the thick Whisper White to make the card base up. I've cut it in half lengthways instead of widthways to make an A6 size card, and I used the scoreboard to score it so that it won't, because the only trouble with when you're using thicker card, you need to try and make sure, if you didn't score it first, you would get a lot of buckling across the crease. Okay, then I've used some of the Magenta Madness cardstock to make a mat. So that's a mat. Again, it depends on what you want to use to make it up with, and that's my final layer. You could make as many mats and layers as you like, and you can have them whatever size you like. This one's got about let me check. Wrong side. That one's got a 1/4 of an inch each, again around the sides for each of the layers. You can make them smaller or bigger depending on what you want to do with your card. For this one, I thought I'll just get a piece of, that's the other thing you can use is your copy paper, so that I don't get any marks on this, when I'm going to do some stamping. And I'm going to use some of these, and we'll put To a Friend That Makes Me Smile. So we'll put this one on first. Here we go. Put that on, and I'll use the Magenta Madness ink pad for my sentiment. Here we go, and I'm going to put that in the middle, and then I'm going to use the Forever Greenery stamp set, which is what this stamp is from. Just clean this up, and I'll use some of the other stamps. So whenever you use your stamps, always make sure you clean them before you put them away, apart from the fact that you'll get it all over yourself if you don't. It's a good sort of habit to get in, to clean everything off as you use it, and that way you know every time you go to make them, you're not going to get grubby images, okay, on your cards. And you'll know, because they were clean when you put them away, that they'll be clean when you get them off, and then you won't have a problem then when you go to, here we go, that one, this one, one. And I can't see my smaller block. Use this one for, hang on, just make sure I put this one on correctly. There we go. And I just want, there we go, that will be enough for, oops, there we go. So I've got all my stamps ready. I'll use Magenta Madness again for, I think, this one. And I'm not going to stamp all of the image because I don't need it all, because it's going to be off the page. And I'll turn it around and do one up here. There we go. So that's the first one. And then I'm going to use, instead of using greens, I'm going to be using some reds in different colours now. So this one is Blackberry Bliss. There we go. And I'll put this one here. Because just because it's greenery leaves, you don't have to make them green. You can use different colours. So that's Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to use some Blushing Bride for this smaller one. There we go. And I'm going to use some basic grey for these last leaves. So I think grey and pink look nice together. There we go. They're a nice colour combination. There we go. Right, and then we'll just put this together. I'll just get rid of this paper a minute. So we'll just stick these. So you can use, I have got some. You get lots of different embellishments that come with the colours as well, with the different cardstocks and things that you can buy. These are some of the ones that will match their enamel dots that match the colours of the cards as well. So I'll just stick this together quickly, if I've got any glue left. I'm waiting for some more to come in. There we go. You don't need a lot, but just, and make sure you keep your glue moving when you use it, so that it doesn't gloop out in any particular and mess up your card. I don't always go too close to the edges, because then it can seep out onto the base of the card or the mats and the layers. So there we go. Again, this is quite a simple card, easy for you to make, and you've got all things that match and go together. And again, we'll just put a couple of these to finish it off. A couple of these, whoops, dots on. Oh, in a second. Just use my, yep, take a pick tool. I'll put 3 of these on. I like to put things in groups of 3 because it draws your eye to the part of the image that you want it to. There we go. And there we go. and that just finishes off nicely. You can use ribbon, you can use all sorts, use any embellishments that you've got, but try and keep it to 3s or an odd number because it's better that way. There you go, and you've got your card. Again, you can put an insert inside. I usually use some copy paper, and I cut it so that it's just a bit smaller than the size of the card, and I will put that inside. Some people will put another mat inside, and a piece of white card over the top, the same as on the outside, and then stamp again on the inside. You can do that, but I'll finish this off later on. But there's your card, and it's made with, I could have used the designer series paper behind it, but I've used the cardstock instead for me, and I've just stamped a simple card. There you go. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it's explained a bit more about what papers are available and what you can use for your projects. If there's anything you'd particularly like to see me explain, then please let me know. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up to say that you liked it, and also if you want to see the next installment of the series, then please subscribe to the channel, and then you'll be notified when the next video becomes available. Alright, thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next week. Bye!